Hi, and welcome to Your Inside Power. My name is Patricia Stepler. It says here, the power within is greater than any difficulty you can ever meet. The power never fails you. Isn't that a great understanding of the power that we have inside of you? Even when we feel that we just can't go on and things are just not going right at all, there is a power inside of us that is greater than anything you're facing. And I'm sure you can look back, and sometimes it may not feel like that, but when you look back after some time has passed, you can see that you have had the power and that you maybe gained more power when you needed it the most. In the last episode, we talked about the law of attraction and the three things that you needed in the law of attraction to bring the good that you desired. You needed to have an interest in what it is that you wanted. You had to give it attention and make sure that you focused on it. And then the third thing was you had to expect it. And today, what I want to do is share with you a little bit more about that expectation and why it's so important, and why sometimes when we think we are invested in an idea, that expectation could be the very thing that is actually keeping us from the good that we desire. Because even though we think we're expecting it, maybe we're not as clear about that as we need to be. So once you understand the laws, and you understand that the laws work the same for everybody, and ignorance of the law does not allow you to not have to follow them. The laws are there. You can't change them. You can work with them. You can work without them. You can try to work against them. But the laws are not going to change. Just like gravity. If you jump off a 10-story building, you're going to get down. You're never going to go up. That's just the law. And these laws of success, these laws that we operate, the law of attraction, things like that, they are set and they do work. And your understanding of that and being closer to the source or source energy or God, whatever you choose to call that, your understanding is what's super important when it comes to those laws. So following them is up to you, but you cannot change them. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about when the big money, as he calls it, when things really start to click and go together, when the big money starts coming, it will come so fast and furious that you are going to wonder where it has been hiding during all the lean years. And you can substitute money for whatever it is you want. It could be clients, it could be customers, it could be building your business, it could be health, it could be relationships. You can put any word in there and place the money. Think and Grow Rich is all about how to gain more money. And most of my clients, that's what they're looking for. And in tough economic times, that's what a lot of people are looking for. And that comes down to the expectation. So what he's saying here is when it starts to come, it comes so fast and so furious that you wonder where it's been. Well, why does that happen? Well, we have certain things we need to learn. Just because we have a goal and we set a goal and we have a desire doesn't mean it's going to happen, because sometimes we have experiences we need to go through in order to get us closer to that source energy. Some of those disappointments, some of those roadblocks we have to encounter in order to get to that goal. There are things we need to learn along the way. Now, sometimes things go very quick and you start to see the results much faster than you expected. And that's because you've already gone through some of that stuff. And there's just a learning curve that everybody needs. And this is why you can't compare yourself to somebody else. Like, let's say you both start the same type of business and you're doing the same type of things, and one of you just skyrockets really quickly, and the other one, it's like they can't get moving. They take 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. That's because they don't have the same experiences. None of us do. We are all similar and we're all different at the same time, because we've have different backgrounds, different experiences, different things that we've done already. and everybody's unique. So we can't assume that everybody can do the same thing at the same time. Doesn't matter what the process or what the procedure is, there's going to be differences. So what we have to do is to start building our awareness and understanding of how we need to connect with that higher power and our higher self. Keep in mind, as I've said many, many times, everything you have today is because of the thinking that's gone through your mind. And where your goal is, if it's a lot higher than where you are, you have to go through something in order to get there. You have to become somebody different. The person you are today is not the person you need to be in order to accomplish that goal. If it were, you'd already be there. So we have to start building that awareness and connecting with the source, the power that we need. And then what I want you to do is to reduce everything to its very simplest idea. Let me give you an idea. So let's say you want to earn $3,000 this month. Okay, so divide that. We'll say it's a month of 30 days. So in order to get $3,000 every day or every month, or for that month, you need to be earning $100 a day. And if you get $100 a day, then by the end of the month, you'll have $3,000. Okay, so let's divide that out. That means $50 in the morning, $50 in the evening. What do we need to do that? Well, figure out, take everything down to its simplest form. You know, my mentor, Bob Proctor, used to always carry a calculator with him. And the reason he did that was he was always trying to reduce everything to its simplest form. And how can we make it the easiest? So what can you do this hour, this half a day, in order to reach that goal at the end of the month? And that's what you need to do in order to get that goal. Reduce everything to its simplest form. Simple ideas, simple plans. Don't complicate it. I see this so often in programs I've enrolled in. It's one program in particular, so complicated. Reduce it to its simplest form. Take out everything that doesn't need to be there and make it simple. So the next thing you need to do is we often limit ourselves by thinking that we can't get what we want. So we have to start really starting to believe and expect that the goal that we want is there for us, because as soon as you have it in your idea, it's already there. It's waiting for you to put out your hands and receive it. And you might say, well, how do I do that? Well, you have to allow yourself the ability to receive that goal. You have to allow yourself that, yes, indeed, you do deserve to have that. See, a lot of times we don't believe we deserve things. And I know I have to catch myself with that many, many times. I think, okay, this is what I want. And then when I get close to it, it's like, well, I don't really deserve it. I need to do something else with my money. So we have to allow ourselves to receive the good we want. And sometimes that becomes very difficult when you're always, if you're like me and looking out for the greater good for everybody. Sometimes it's like, well, I don't need that. I'll let somebody else have it. Or I'll use my money for something else instead, that I shouldn't be taking that for me. Yes, you do need to take it for you. So we have to believe that we can have it, and we must decide that we're going to get it and to receive it. So we have to connect with source energy. Some people talk about prayer, and prayer is how we connect with that source. And it's not just like meaningful, sitting down, actually saying a prayer. It's not just that. It's just the constant thought of what it is that you want, that constant message in your mind, doesn't have to be out loud, of what it is that you want. But then we also, at some point, have to just trust that it's there and let go and let God and let the source energy bring that to us. And so we can't be uptight. We can't be stressed out about it. We have to be relaxed and say, this is what I want, and I know it's going to happen, and just let it go. Let go, let God. That was actually a chapter in one of Bob Proctor's books, Let Go and Let God. And understand that we are like this radio. We send signals out and we receive signals. When we send signals out, that's in prayer. When we receive them, some people say that's your intuition. You have to become very aware. And that's one of the 6 intellectual faculties that we have. And maybe at some point I'll talk about in depth how to utilize those 6 intellectual faculties, but intuition is one of them. Are you allowing yourself to listen for when you're getting a response? Sometimes people say, I pray to God and I never get any answers. Do you take the time to really listen? Because sometimes those answers come like that very quickly. And it'll just be a flash of a moment. And if we're not in tune to it, we miss them. Or we dismiss it because it can't be the answer. What you want to do is when something flashes at you, there's a reason for it. Write it down. Not everyone's a good idea. Maybe you didn't get the right message, but write it down so that you can start to look at it and analyze and think about it. Because sometimes we get these messages and we don't understand it. But if we think about it a little, we start to figure it out and we start to gather those ideas. So we need to be very conscious of listening to our intuition. Sometimes the intuition will help us. It'll keep us from something dangerous or something we should not do because we're just paying attention. So when you pray, it's like talking to God, talking to source energy. When our answer comes, it's through intuition. Are you sending out the message? Are you allowing yourself to pick up the message? A dreamer, on the other hand, is just, oh, this is what I like, this is why, but they put no action behind it. Remember, we have to get focused so that we form the action. And once we have that clear, definite idea of what we want, and we focus our energy on it, we focus our thought on it, we will start to put our body into action. It just happens. The subconscious mind will start to make the body move into action. And that's the way it happens. It's always the subconscious mind that controls the action that you do. You see, those habitual thought patterns we have in our subconscious mind is what controls our action. And as long as we do something that is not in harmony with our subconscious mind, we will not go into action. So if in our subconscious mind, we have this embedded belief that this cannot happen and we cannot do something, that will control us no matter what we consciously think. Because even though consciously we know we can do it, if our subconscious is saying, no, you can't do it, that's where the strength is. And the subconscious controls the action. So you have to learn how to shift the thinking in your subconscious mind if you're going to acquire the good that you desire. In order to become that person that you need to be, it's going to require changing your subconscious. In our subconscious mind, one of our largest paradigms is the paradigm of our confidence, or who we are, who we believe we are. And that needs to change if we're going to accomplish that goal. As long as we are unwilling to change our fundamental ideas of who we are, we will remain where we are, because all the confidence you have in the world has gotten you to where you are now. But you have to shift to a new set of consciousness and a new set of confidence in order to become that new person. I had a client one time and he thought he was a very confident person, and he was a confident person. What he was doing at that moment, he was not confident in. So what he had done previously, he had lots of confidence in. But what he was doing now, he was not confident. So you can be a very confident person, but not confident in what you need to do to reach your next goal. I hope that makes sense. So, it's not that you totally lack confidence. You maybe lack confidence in what it is that you need to do in order to accomplish that goal. So once we figure out who we need to be in order to accomplish that goal, then we can start to shift our subconscious mind so that we become that person. So when you give, also be willing to receive. I want to share with you out of my book, Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. He says, many people who order their lives rightly in all other ways are kept in poverty by their lack of gratitude. Having received one gift from God, they cut the wires which connect them with Him by failing to make acknowledgement. Don't let that be you. When you receive a gift from God, be grateful. Express that gratitude, even if it's just, in your mind thinking it. Express the gratitude for what you have. And so you keep that connection with that source energy. And it's not piling up money. It's what you're going to do with that money. Have that goal that when you acquire the money, this is what I'm doing. And don't forget that you're important. So after giving whatever it is you're giving in order to receive the gift or the money for what you're going to do, be thankful. And make sure that you believe that you can achieve it. Now, that's what I really want to get into quite a bit today, because it is your thoughts, whether they're good or bad, that you attract. So you can want something good, but in your subconscious mind, you're thinking, I don't deserve this, or I can't have this. That's what you're going to attract. So when you say, this is my goal, and I've been focusing on it, and you're not getting it, it's what we need to do is start looking at your subconscious. I remember one time I was doing a seminar for people, and somebody said, I was talking about how you had to go deep inside and figure out what's causing that resistance. And somebody said, do we really need to do that? And I said, yeah, I believe we do. Because until we figure out what's causing the resistance when we have a goal, we're not going to figure out how to shift it and how to change it. So we have to figure out what's causing that problem. And then we're able to say, oh, well, I'm probably telling myself a story that doesn't exist. And we do that all the time. We have stories going on in our mind that we believe are true. And yet when we start to analyze and start to dig deeper and peel back the onion, we see that the story we've been telling ourselves is maybe not the real story. So we have to start to see what is happening so that we can change our thought patterns. The other thing we sometimes do that keeps us from getting what we expect is we desire one thing, but we expect the other thing to happen. So you desire to have, let's say we desire to have more clients, but we don't expect it. And so every time maybe we're talking to a potential client, we actually cut off that attraction because we don't believe it's going to happen. And so even though it's what we desire, we don't expect it. So we need to be very cautious of that. As I think it was Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So with your thinking, if your conscious mind desires something and your subconscious mind is saying, oh, no, you can't, that's a house divided beside itself. Your conscious is in conflict with your subconscious, and therefore you're not going to get the good that you desire. So desire one thing, expect another, causes confusion and no cooperation. It's confusion, no cooperation, and no force is there to attract what you really want, because the universe doesn't know. It's in confusion. Well, does she want this or does she want that? I don't know. And that's why you don't attract what you want. Constant feeding for desire without doubt brings confidence and expectation. Listen again. Constant feeding for desire. That's thinking over and over and over of what it is that you want. Keep that picture in your mind. Keep yourself seeing yourself with the good that you desire. When you constantly feed that desire and you don't have any doubt that it's going to happen, that's when you expect it. I know for myself, many times I'll just figure out, like, how can this happen? How can this happen? How can this happen? And I break it down, like I said earlier, break it into the smallest piece. When this happens, this, gets me this much closer. Figure it out, and you will acquire what you want. Keep that vivid picture of the desire and get emotionally involved. Sometimes when something maybe doesn't go the way I want it to go, or I have somebody say no to me when I thought they'd say yes, then I'll get that picture out. Literally, look at the picture of what it is I want. Some people do that with a vision board. They find pictures of what they want, they put them on that vision board, and then they start to acquire them. Just be careful that you actually put the picture of what you want. I heard this really good story the other day. They were talking about these 3 young guys in their 20s, and they were doing interviews, like I say, posted on social media and so on, but they were interviewing people that they saw that looked successful. Perhaps if they were driving a certain kind of car, like a Maserati or, very expensive car. And the one guy they talked to was on a yacht. And so they went and interviewed him. And what he was saying was that one time he was, I guess, just standing someplace, and somebody asked him to be in this photo shoot on this yacht. So he went in this photo shoot on the yacht, and he said, years later, he got this yacht and he realized it was the exact yacht that he had done the photo shoot on. He said those pictures were so embedded in his mind that he eventually ended up owning that yacht. That's what you need to do. That's what I did to win my diamond ring. That's what my son did to get a scholarship. That's what I did when I wanted a certain job. I thought about it constantly. And I did not allow disbelief to enter my mind. Yes, it was discouraging when things didn't go right. Yes, it was discouraging when I got a no. I kept the idea alive in my mind, and I did not doubt for a second that it would happen. And I'll never forget when my son got that scholarship letter, and we had been told 1/3 to 1/2. And he says, "Mom, wouldn't this be funny if it's a full scholarship?" And what did I say? Don't forget, they said only 1/3 to 1/2. And then he opened the letter, and indeed it was a full scholarship. He told me a couple years later, he never doubted that it was a full scholarship, which is why he had some discouragements along the way, because that was the only way it could happen. And that's the way you have to be. You have to have so much belief. And when a new path maybe opens up that's not what you're expecting, take it, because that's probably the way you need to go in order to accomplish that goal. So keep that vivid picture, keep the thought of attracting it, keep in harmony with the good that you desire. True desire is brought by desire greater than life and with continuous expectation. So true desire, it's got to be so big, so exciting to you that first of all, you'll go into action to accomplish it. But it also has to be that continuous expecting of the good that you desire. It says here, it's quote, "No desire is felt until supply is ready to appear." That's good news. No desire is felt. You're not going to desire something unless it's available for you. It just doesn't happen. It's got to be there. So if you understand that that desire is not going to come into your mind unless you are able to have it, then there should be no worry or doubt. Just get it out of your mind. Stronger expectation, the stronger your attraction, and the stronger is your action. And I can guarantee you that's the truth, because I've seen it in my own life. The stronger you expect something to happen, the stronger your attraction. You're bringing people into your lives. Maybe it could be somebody halfway around the world. And the stronger your action, you do more. Because with each little step, each baby step along the way, you gain momentum. And as you're gaining momentum, you start to do more because you start to believe more. What if you could just believe like that from the beginning? What a difference it would make. Supply is inexhaustible There's plenty of supply out there. Don't let that get in your way. You may have a goal and somebody else may have a goal, and there's plenty for both of you. The law wants results. That's why when you get an idea, act on it right away. The law wants results, and it will happen if you proceed without doubt and fear. It's got to be that feeling of expectation that it's going to happen, and then it will. And that's how it works. And I would love to have you join me. I'm going to be starting a new group and a program where I'm going to be working with you on how to get your mind to shift around the good things that you desire and leave the rest of the stuff go. And how do we draw that attraction into our lives? Because the possibilities are endless. And as the world continues to get smaller and we're able to communicate with people around the world, it has opened up so many avenues, and it's so easy today. I remember when I was, selling cosmetics, it was still before there was like automatic shipments and things like that. And I kept thinking, as time passed, how much easier it would be today, how much easier it would have been 10 years ago than when I was doing it, where I had to deliver everything and I had to, go out, and it was just so much harder. And because of technology and the internet and all the things that we have, the softwares we have, it's so much easier today than it ever was before to become really wealthy and to make a lot of money. So when people are not doing that, it's because they're not thinking, they're not allowing themselves the ability to think of the possibilities and what opportunities there are today.